and the music keeps playing, and the music. Oh,
I wanted to pretend I wasn't ready, so I looked off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when are we ever really ready?
That's true. But I'm sometimes I'm deep in thought. You know
that. If that's what we're calling it nowadays, okay.
Hey, everybody! Join me in welcoming Nick back. Sick
Woo!
Nick.
Woo!
Let's go on a picnic, Sick Nick.
Thank you, everybody.
Well done.
Thank you.
I know what you're thinking. How did they get a live studio audience at PoddiMouths? Wow, who cut off like that?
I have control.
You could fade it out there. Jeez.
I could.
Come on, audience.
That would have been the nice thing to do, but you know what? I don't fade out my audience. I cut them like that.
That's hilarious. That's a really talented audience. They just, because there are some
power
who
of
just
podcasting right there.
Just exactly. Like this, and they stop right before.
Yeah, it's kind of like Ghostbusters, you know. It's the never mind. Watch Ghostbusters last night.
It's kind of like Ghostbusters. What about the Twinkie?
What about the Twinkie? Have you seen the third yet, or technically the fourth, but the third, the real third?
No, they keep making them. I haven't.
You need to watch the new one. I mean, they did a really good job, and just for you, my friend, there's a nod to the Twinkie.
A Twinkie nod.
Yep, a Twinkie nod.
Yeah. You might want to see a doctor for that. I have Twinkie nods.
Anyway, folks, you can tell I am not in my normal podcasting place. I am still in my house, but I decided that I didn't want to make that short trek up 3 flights of stairs to actually technically 2 flights of stairs to get up to the third floor to do the podcast up there. Because
third one's an escalator, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. That's how big my house is.
Yes,
but I am sitting today in what we call the Nashville room, which is also our formal living room. But let me give you a quick tour because I was giving it to John because he's like, I've never seen that room before. Yeah. So, yes, the liquor cabinet is behind me. But over here, we've got the Nashville sign above the fireplace.
And is that why you call it the Nashville room because it has Nashville in the room?
No. So those pictures, and I'm going to show you a couple more here. I have a series of photographs of Peyton that I call A Girl and Her City. And you'll see those on my Instagram page. So those are pictures of Peyton in Nashville. And then over here, do you see my Chewy box too? The dogs got their food. So there's a picture of Peyton.
Awesome.
The Loveless Cafe, which is close to us, and then some more pictures of Peyton.
Nice.
So the Girl in Her City series is a picture of it. It's Peyton. It's all Peyton with her back to the camera, looking out at different scenes from the city. So we've got one that's looking at downtown. We've got one that's looking at the Capitol. One that's looking at the Gulch, for those of you who are familiar with Nashville. One at Opryland, which you got to stay at recently. And then another one in Centennial Park, and another one at one of our other local parks where they have hiking. So and I have a few more that'll go up eventually. But yeah, so this is why we call it our Nashville room.
Well, that's part of the reason. Would you still call it the Nashville room if that script said Orlando on the wall?
Well, since all of the other photos in the room have to do with Nashville, including, now you saw the Loveless Cafe, but we have another picture over on the wall that is the graphic arts from one of the famous art places here in Nashville. But it's on the wall. It says Nashville. It's a guitar. So yeah. We would probably still call it, even with Orlando on the wall, the Nashville room, because that's the only nod to Orlando.
And I'm just kind of curious because the reason I ask is my niece in her bedroom when she was growing up she's college now. I'm sure in her sorority she has something similar. In her bedroom, she had a full-size picture of herself. And I said, is this so you remember where your room is? You just have to match it up. Yep, that's me.
Yeah.
And so you kind of know. So sometimes you have to be specific about what you call the room based on.
Yeah.
What it's.
I'm the only one in the family that calls it the Nashville room.
Oh,
everyone else calls it the living room.
Fireplace?
Or fireplace room, yeah.
Yeah.
Jen calls it the fireplace room. Peyton calls it the living room.
Okay. That's awesome.
We don't do a lot of living down here, though.
Okay.
We do not a lot of Nashvilling here.
That is a verb, from what I understand. The new
it is now
the new dictionary. Yes,
the Nick dictionary.
Verb. That's not good.
The Nictionary.
So, tell us about Coco.
Oh, it's been wonderful. It's just been terrific. I would like to invite it into the house more often.
I'm sure. What's the length of time?
It has now been 6 days, and today, John asked me how I felt today, and I have been given permission to use this joke by my wife, even though I think it was sarcasm. Whenever someone asks me how I'm feeling today, my response has been a little less like garbage, a little more like recycling. I am getting better.
Gosh, I didn't hear an audience reaction at all to that.
Oh, well, hold on.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I was hoping for a little laughter, but maybe it's just clapworthy.
I don't think it. Oh, there is a laugh track in here. I just didn't see it. I'm so sorry. I just missed that laugh. The laugh.
Come on. Now that was nightclub clapping.
It was nightclub. Well, I mean, where do you think I am? I mean, I am in Nashville. I'm in the Nashville room.
Sure, you're on a
so
stage.
let me try that again, John.
Yes. Okay.
Ask me how I'm doing.
Or
how I'm feeling.
Again? Oh, hey, Nick. First of all, you're dressed like a lumberjack. So my question is, how are you doing?
I am feeling a little bit less like garbage and a lot more like recycling.
Oh!
Thank you very much. Oh yeah, you right there. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Boy, do not allow any heckling because
there isn't a box over here for heckling.
Okay. Well, I can do it organically if you like. There we go. Now we're talking. This is really turning into an entertainment show.
It really is. I haven't used this little feature for a while. And people might be asking, Nick, why are you using this feature? Well, just before, my brain was fried, I was experimenting with different ways to streamline everything when it came to our podcast. So I was seeing if I could actually upload video, which, by the way, I can upload video. So hopefully soon we'll be able to actually run our intro right into the podcast. So all of you will be so entertained and be amazed by the technology or the technical acumen of John and myself and the podcast.
Let's just say yourself. It's not John's
yourself.
Acumen. Everyone knows that after last week when I was all alone and it was scary.
Well, you did a great job. I listened to it. I laughed. I cried. I coughed.
That was I sweat. I got a fever. Yeah.
I got a fever. My fever broke. Yep. Exactly.
That's what PoddiMouths does.
Really, it does. It does. Now, but back to your earlier question, it's been an interesting run because I remember saying Peyton had COVID and her one symptom, a fever, lasted quite literally 1 day.
Wow.
Jen told me, now I'm getting this not from Jen alone, but from other people who played off, probably did the same thing I do a lot when I'm sick, is play it off as not a big deal. And I'm finding out it's been more of a big deal, so it makes me feel a little bit better. I'm not going to go into the gory details of the other people, but mine, it really hit me hard on Sunday. It was between Saturday and Sunday that I started feeling different, off. And then, Sunday I was wiped out. I was sleeping all day, never got off the couch. Excuse me. And then Monday, I told my boss, hey, I'm going to do the best I can, but I don't think I'm going to work very much today because I'm, not feeling great. But then I got my second or 10th wind and I felt fine, or thought I felt fine. But at the end of the day, I was worse off than I was on Sunday. Wow. So all of Tuesday I slept pretty much. Wednesday, that's why I came down here instead of going up, because Tuesday and Wednesday I worked in my room the whole time. And then Thursday, I sat down here, and today, for most of the day, I sat down here just doing work because it's a lot easier to work from the couch than it is from my office because, everything is a flight of stairs up there. Here, everything's on the same floor. So I'm still getting tired out pretty quickly, but other than that, I'm fine. I had a headache this morning, and obviously you can hear my voice is still wonky, but that's pretty much all I have left. Oh, I can't smell. That's fun.
Oh,
I can taste, but I can't smell. And the only thing I taste is salt. So anytime I put something in my mouth, especially if it's got a lot of salt in it, it tastes like salt water to me.
Wow. Okay. Yep. That's interesting. Well, the smell will probably come back. I've lost my sense of smell with a regular cold before.
Yeah. I've never before, but yes, I think I hope it'll come back because that is, important to me.
Well, the taste thing is weird. And a lot of people have had that long-term taste fall off after COVID. And happily, sadly, from my belly, I have not. Everything tastes delicious, especially that ice cream and cake and brownies. Everything tastes like brownies.
Brownies. Yeah. I would love everything to taste like brownies. I think that would be incredible.
Yeah, except you'd eat everything then, and that's the issue. Oh, these brownie sprouts are delicious.
It hasn't stopped me from eating anyway. Whether I can taste or can't taste, nothing has stopped me. Yeah, actually, my go-to this week are push pops. Not the push-ups, but the popsicles that are in plastic.
Yeah.
The push you squeeze them up. Those have been my go-to for pretty much every single meal.
Okay, those are not bad.
They're just flavored water that's frozen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not that big a deal.
Full of sugar. Can you hear the dogs walking around? Peyton and Jen just got home, so we're gonna see Peyton's new hair. Woo!
Yay! When you say new hair, has she?
She got a haircut.
Did she? Okay, and and did she get extensions then too?
No, but she got colors.
Did she?
Yeah, I haven't seen them yet. I'm waiting.
I remember you did that once. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I got extensions once. There she is.
Let's
come on over because all of our audience is waiting. There we go.
It's awesome. Nice.
John says it's awesome. Nice. She says, "Well, thank you."
Spin. Turn around.
Spin. Woo!
Nice. That's a really good cut.
Can you see the purpleness?
I didn't really see the
purple on the ends.
Mainly because I'm old. Oh, yeah, there we go. Oh, it looks good. Nice. Yeah.
Good job. Looks fantastic.
The length is...
We're podcasting. She can see that.
The length is very, very short. Is really good, too, yeah.
Yep. He likes the length a lot. So do I.
Yeah.
Okay, back to you folks. I'm so sorry.
No, that's a girl who's growing up. She's gone from the long hair, like a lot of girls do, and then now as she gets into she's still preteen, right?
She's a tween. She's 12. Okay.
And so that's really good. That looks really good. That's very mature of her.
It is. Can you believe that when we started this podcast, she was a little 8-year-old?
She was an infant. I mean, basically an infant.
Actually, I think she was even 7. I think she was 7 when we started this podcast.
How long do you think we've been doing this?
We've been doing it a lot longer than you said we were doing it last week, my friend.
Well, then why did I think it was...
busted.
I thought it was wasn't it 2019? Or was it 2017, apparently?
No, we've been doing it. We're almost to the end of our 4th season.
So 2019, 2022, 2019 we started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't I say that?
11, 10, 9, 8, but we started before her birthday, so she was 7.
Oh, okay. What did I say last week?
3. You were only off
such
by
a
1 year.
Liar. I am a liar.
You are such a liar.
Hey, I will. I have to say this because, and I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
What? I was just going to say. I said it last week, I think too, but it's a whole different ball game when it's not you and I back and forth. When it's just one guy talking.
Yeah, you did a great job, though. I mean, that was 45 minutes of nonstop talking.
But I bet you felt
great.
It's too much work. But I think of the DJs, and I said this, who did that. There was a guy in Chicago, Kevin Matthews, and he had like a sidekick, but it was him. The sidekick was Jim Shorts, and he just changed his voice a little, and that's Jim Shorts. And I'm thinking, he just throws it to Jim, and no.
I was seriously impressed though, because you were. I mean, there was a constant stream of consciousness. There was no stopping. I couldn't do that. I mean, I can talk a lot, but I can't have a constant stream of consciousness because I have to stop and think. And I don't do that often, but I do have to stop and think.
I had bullets.
Oh, good job. Good job.
Well, unlike what we usually
actually,
you and I both have bullets and we don't use them.
Right. I know, exactly. Well, I was going to say, you're actually saying that you, by yourself, you decided to plan for the episode when we never planned for any other episode together.
What are the choices? I mean, I can go, hey, John, why don't you stew on that for a while?
Well, okay, you are in Wisconsin. You are in your mother's house. You could have invited your mother in.
I could have, except Mother's not in the house any longer.
I know.
Yes, so that would be difficult. But hey, she is, and so speaking of that, and this gives me a chance just to say that she is doing great.
Give us an update.
Well, good. She's in her new place. It's I'm not going to go into all the details, but Mom is 93, and I've mentioned that before. And she's really sharp, and she's used to being mobile, although, she's had a little wobbliness over the last few years. That's because she's 93. But we weren't sure how she was going to respond to having this hip problem. Because we'd say when it comes to assisted living, it's way better to make the decision than to have it made for you. And
right.
It was kind of riding that line with this broken hip thing because they didn't have to do a full replacement. They just replaced some parts. And so it's been difficult, but she knew that she couldn't be alone in the house anymore. The house is massive. We've been here for a week. I'm telling you, this is not a bragging or anything. It was their dream home. And Mom and her then husband, Jim, I think was 88 when, probably not quite. He was in mid 80s anyway, when they broke ground on this house, if you can believe.
Oh, wow.
And so Mom was certainly in her late 70s, and it's kind of their dream house. And so, I respect that, but oh my gosh, it's way bigger than ours is going to be. And I just get tired walking around here.
So, that's interesting.
She's in the place and she's good, and she's on her scooter,
good,
going everywhere in this.
You got the scooter working?
Yeah, just new batteries. The guy found a wonderful guy who does that stuff, and he said, "Yep, got them in stock." And I said, "Oh, that's great. How long is it going to be?" So I can have it done in 20 minutes. Shut up! Because the reason I didn't do it is because the first thing said, "Remove these 16 screws." I'm out. 16 screws.
Well, they've
cut it out. So,
they're like NASCAR people. They've got the tools.
Apparently. Exactly right. I have that too, but I'm just too lazy to do 16 screws. 15 I would have done, but not 16. So anyway, she's good, new batteries, and she's happy to go. So it's been a good week. We are about ready to head back to the warm weather, though. It was 32 this morning.
I would love that. It was 50 here today. It was fantastic.
Whew, hot, yeah.
It was warm. Why do you think I'm dressed like a lumberjack?
Because you like dressing like lumberjacks.
I do. So I want to talk about that though, because you're talking about the dream house. To me, it's really interesting through the generations what dream houses actually are. And where the one you're in is fairly large. Jen and I have been talking about what we would possibly do next and what our dream house would end up being. And in reality, it's smaller than what we live in now. And we don't live in an excessively big house. It's big. It's probably too big for us, but it's not excessively big. And any house we go from here would probably be smaller. Now it would be laid out differently, but that's the main part of it. But it's interesting to me because I think back to the houses my mom was dreaming of, and they were always bigger. And then, it seems like every subsequent time you talk to a generation, they all seem to be a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. And it not necessarily for cost, just for, that is factor, but it's really just for what are we using it for?
I know. And for Lisa and me, there are only two of us. So we're going to have a big garage because I like a big garage. But other than that, it's going to be about 1,500 square feet. And most of it's outdoor, besides the garage, outdoor living space. So,
right. Exactly.
But this one is, it's not, I'm not saying it for any reason that, my mother had it. It's just the two of them. But she built it for when family came to visit. And it's 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths with an office and it's huge. So it's, too big for me. I'm tired just walking around. I have to go to the bathroom. No, it's okay. That's all right. I'll get it. Depends. Because it's too far to walk.
Yep.
So anyway.
Yeah.
It's been
I had a good friend that had a house that 13,000 square feet.
13, man.
I think 13 bedrooms. Which is great. 13 is my favorite number, so you'd think I'd be all about that house. And it was a gorgeous house. Don't get me wrong; it was absolutely gorgeous. But there were only 2 of them. There was only 2 of them.
What the heck?
And, they did it for an investment, but at the same time they lived there. And I was like, okay, I can understand that's your dream.
Yeah.
Go for it. And like I said, it was gorgeous, and they did put on a lot of parties, which that does make a difference as well.
Totally.
My mom, for example,
aspect.
liked entertaining. Yep.
Yeah, and my mom, but she was always great at that and enjoyed that for sure. Yeah,
and when we bought this house, part of it was, okay, if we choose to entertain, we have this, we'll have this, well, we never entertain. We don't have, like my mom had family, all of our family around.
Sure.
So she was constantly having people at the house. We don't have that here.
Mm-hmm.
It would be different if we were living in Minnesota or if we were living in East Tennessee or even West Tennessee, where Jen's family tends to live. The bigger house might be in the cards, but for what we do, no, we don't need the space.
Yeah. We are actually looking forward to a smaller place, less to clean. I say that, of course, that's the intent. But in Florida, there's no basement. So that's the other thing, in the Midwest, we have been so built around basements, it seems like, which is great in the summer or when tornadoes come by. But other than that, we're going to miss some of the storage probably from the basement. But that's it. We'll hide everything else in the attic.
Yeah, attics are fun. Not really. Said no one ever.
Said no one ever. Interesting thing, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but in our rental, speaking of attics, the rental house we're in, hopefully just for another month or so, when the hurricane came through, it blew the access panel off the attic space in the garage. And so apparently the wind came in through the vents in the roof and actually blew off. It didn't wreck it. It just blew it open, the access panel. And then it blew out the side garage door, breaking the glass. And when the glass shattered, it broke outside the house. So you knew it came from the inside. And so it essentially exploded, and this door never opened before. It's a deadbolt that we didn't have a key for. Well,
wow.
Boom, wide open when we got home. Glass there. Okay, wow. So I guess it did get a little serious over there.
Maybe it was the family that was living up there trying to get out before the storm.
Could be Beetlejuice. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. We watched that already this week too.
You watched Beetlejuice this week? Well, yeah, it's Halloween coming up.
Well, exactly. It's October. We've got to watch all of the October movies. Some of which I can watch without Peyton or with Peyton. Some I cannot. Most of them still, but it's fun as she gets older because we can start to introduce her to new things every year.
Yeah.
Just based on her age. So,
have you seen one of Michael's favorites? Used to be Nightmare Before Christmas.
Exorcist.
I hated that. I was
Really?
scared to death I saw The Exorcist the first time in the theater. And it was, and we're like right in the middle, big screen, and that head spun around. And I'm like, ah, on the
yeah. Oh, it still scares me. My good Catholic blood, it scares the hell out of me. But it's still one of my favorite movies. I love it. I have to watch it with all the lights on. But no, that's the only scary movie that actually scares me.
Okay,
none of the other ones ever really scare me. But so an interesting story. Way back when, and it's not any of the movies we just mentioned, but Jen's parents took her to what they thought was E.T.
Oh no!
And it turned out to be, I think it was E.T. It was not supposed to be a bad movie for kids, and this is when she was very young. They ended up taking her to Poltergeist, thinking it was the other movie. Yeah, so it's. Up until recently, you could not leave a light on in the closet at all. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was Poltergeist.
And they stayed. They stayed for the movie.
Yeah.
How old was she?
Yeah, we'll have to, I don't remember. I'll have to bring her on the podcast again to talk about it.
Oh, you have to. Tell her she will have to get her hair dyed certain colors.
Her hair did.
Than that.
Her hair did.
Her hair done did. Yeah.
Yep. So
wow.
Anyway, in reality, folks, I just wanted to come on because it's been 2 weeks for me that I haven't been on the podcast. 1 week for John because we had that 1 week off, but he did such a great job. I wanted to thank him for, biting the bullet and taking one for the team. I will not be returning.
I plan to be sick very soon. So once you're,
I was going to say, I will not be returning
one all by yourself.
Yep. But next week I think we'll end up being back. You'll be back in your studio. I'll be back in my studio.
Yes, sir.
And we'll catch up, and hopefully I'll have my voice back, and won't be so difficult to actually talk, and I won't be falling asleep at the computer while I do it.
You'll be wearing a wife beater.
It is the PoddiMouths Podcast. I probably will be falling asleep.
You will be falling asleep. Yeah. Well, I think that's the beauty of PoddiMouth. If you think most of our audience listens while they run like Bill does, I think most of them listen to put themselves to sleep.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
100%.
Brilliant.
But on that note, friends, I'm going to bid you adieu and go see Peyton's hair a little bit more. Nicely done. I like that.
Thank you.
Folks, have a great week. We will get back to our regular cadence and regular schedule. Something that's really interesting is I can feel myself kind of leaning this way, and my computer, I can tell, is leaning, and then you're also leaning. But I don't know if it's because my computer is leaning. Yeah, there we go. That's going to make people watching sick.
What's wrong?
You're not leaning. Not at all. Not at all. So, oof.
Nice.
All right, folks. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Feeling better. See you, everybody.
Thanks.